Hello, Daphine.
Hello.
How do you pronounce your other name?
Atuhwera.
Atuhwera. Those names from the West really
Yes.
give me a challenge. But I welcome you to Gendered Spaces. On this podcast, we engage with issues, male and female, and how we navigate those areas to engage with gender, the power dynamics, the emotions, or it's just accidental that it deals with gender issues.
No, actually, when I was writing this book, when I thought of the title, it was not specifically for women. It was not supposed to bring out that theme of women emancipation. It was specifically to bring out maybe portraying betrayal as a crime, as something that should be punishable. So if you read this book, and you see actions that Angel takes after being betrayed and by men, I mean, if I were in that place, even for a man, it would be justifiable if a man did that to women who have betrayed him. So it is not gender-based.
So betrayal must be punished,
Yes,
regardless.
regardless
Not
of
necessarily
the
through
gender.
death,
Yes.
but there has to be some sort of punishment. So the title, The Men I Killed, is it literal killing or it's symbolic killing?
It's literal killing.
Literal killing.
Yes.
And I engaged with that in the book, and at some point I was confused. Is this fiction? Is this real? Are there aspects of real life that you bring into this book?
Yes. I wrote this book when I was actually in a bad place. I was heartbroken.
And you wanted revenge.
Yes, and I wanted revenge. I'm not good at communicating my feelings verbally, so I write down. So what came to me in this aspect is, you know what, let them die. Because what do you mean you do something that terrible to someone and then you walk around free like it's normal? There is a way community
There's
has,
nothing.
yes, there is a way they have normalized betraying someone. You betray someone in a bad way, you cheat, and then you expect it to be normal because community has normalized it, but you do not actually think about how it has affected the other person emotionally. So by killing these people, it kind of brought
healing.
Yes, and I was able to move on. And
yes, and that made me question the aspect of peace. Is peace our ultimate aim in life? Because you see, regardless of all that Angel was achieving, she just wanted peace, and she could only achieve it when she killed somebody who offended her.
yes, you reach a point in life when all that matters to you is being peaceful. So that's how you find someone has shut down all the doors in her life. She doesn't want a toxic friendship. She doesn't want a toxic relationship. If you can't bring peace in my life, then you go away.
Yes. And for me, why I thought it's very related to the issues I like to talk about in gendered spaces is how you say how community has found it acceptable to either ignore or look at betrayal, especially when it is by men, as normal.
Yeah.
When you see the reactions of community when a woman has been wronged by a man, it's almost like, oh, that's how men are, or you must have done something wrong, or you are not doing something right. So he had to find someone to basically fill that gap. So the perception is that men don't have gaps as human beings. Yeah, so I sort of felt that sense that this sort of demonstrates that argument that we always put forward, that men are always viewed as people who are free to do what they want to do, and they go scot-free. And for me, in your book, the fact that they get punished and they disappear, is really amazing. But it also enabled me relate to other forms of betrayal I've experienced myself. Some of the issues I've engaged with on gendered spaces, that when people wrong you, is it okay to just ignore them? And when you brought on board, was she Angela?
Yes.
Angel's friend.
Yeah,
and it seemed like she had packed it and let it go. But when people wrong you and then reappear and try to make you the villain or want to joke around your feelings, I think they should be punished.
Yes.
And it shouldn't just be in cases of love, but also in other scenarios that we see.
Yes.
So what really made you build this character this way? A nice person essentially developing into a villain.
Yeah. So you see, in life, that is how actually life goes. You find someone innocent because of the toxic things she has been through, because she's just a first-year student at a university. She's very innocent. She's a hopeless romantic. And you see, at first she lets it go. She forgives and she decides to go on, to move on with her life. But then these people actually come to her. And what inspired me, okay, why I built this character like this, it's to show that as human beings, you reach a breaking point. You can't always hold it in every time. It becomes heavy. And for her, the best way to let it all out was to punish the ones that made her that way. So even as human beings, leaving the book aside, there is always a turning point. You find you have friends or maybe a lover. The first one betrays you or leaves you. You let go because love is beautiful. So you decide to give love a second chance.
For the sake of the history,
yeah,
you let go.
You let go. You give love a second chance. You give friendships second chances. But then sometimes, especially for girl friendships, they are actually very hard because I don't know, but girls are complex to be friends with.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're chameleons of sorts.
Yes.
They're jealous of you as a girlfriend. Yes, I've had those cases where people share that most female friends are only your friends if you stay non-threatening.
Yes.
You stay the way you are, if that friend is better than you, but should you sort of go beyond what was expected, then they want what you have, and they want it all for themselves. If you say you have a nice boyfriend or a great husband and he does this to you, she's like, oh no way, she can't be enjoying that all by herself. I also want to experience that. So that's a sort of common narrative amongst female friendships, which also comes out in Angel and Angela's relationship, and later the other friendship that we come across. In that it almost, I don't know if I'm wrong, but it almost shows that however good a female is to another female, they really betray you so much.
Yes. And girls don't just betray. You know, I don't know if you've experienced this, but when you have a girl who is so close to you and you're literally sisters, almost like sisters, and she betrays you, she does something bad, it hurts more than a relationship.
Yes, it hurts more than a relationship, but also I feel that sense that those kind of people, sometimes when they betray you, they're not satisfied with betraying you once. They want to keep you in constant pain, because we see Angela coming back to provoke.
Yeah.
The fact that they ignored her was not good enough. She had to come back and provoke her friend to push her. So I think it also deals with the issues of tolerance. Yes, how much should we tolerate when people wrong us? Should we ignore them, or they say when a fly steps on you, use a hammer to crush it completely? Because when you give it another chance, you can see what happens. These things keep repeating themselves. I'm just wondering, is this the first book you have written?
Oh no, actually this is my 11th book.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's the first one to physically publish.
Yes. And it's an amazing book.
Thank you.
Amazing in a scary way. The killing. I don't know. I will want to find out from a man who's read this book. I don't know if you've engaged any man who's read this book. Are they frightened? Are they scared? Do they begin to fear women? Of course, they always say fear women. Do they fear us even more? Because you portray the potential. Women are normally looked at as weak. They can be trampled upon. You can, hurt her and move on. But for me, the fact that this woman, when you hurt her and think that she's nothing, she actually becomes the most deadly person to your life.
The most dangerous person you've met. Actually, some of them, I think, are afraid of me because sitting down and you think of something like this is actually sometimes scary. Sometimes I also ask myself, how did I really think of killing people like this?
And when I first met you, I looked and I'm like, she described herself, like your demeanor, like very calm, very gentle, a beautiful lady and things like that. And I was thinking, is Daphine speaking about herself? Could she potentially evolve into Angela from an innocent soul to a very dangerous one if you wrong her?
I think I'm capable of that.
Most of us are, I think, yes, in our minds, how many times we want to kill. But I also see a theme you deal with, this cross-generational sort of teaching or the way women are nurtured on how they respond to hurt. But then you show a different position that don't always assume a woman will just sit back when you hurt her and cry and try to pick up her pieces. She cannot actually have potential to get back. So should people worry? Are you trying to teach women something? Are you just telling a story? What lesson is in there?
So you see, when we are hurt, when women are hurt, some of them, actually the ones who can go extreme, let's say a man has cheated on her, the one who goes extreme cheats back, and for her that's her revenge. But that is actually not satisfying. Like cheating back is you're selling your
soul, your person, your purity, your values.
Exactly. You're selling your body, and it's not okay. But what if there is a way to hurt this person back in a non-sexual way?
Yes, and you demonstrate that there is. And another thing I saw is that if I look, let's say, for instance, at my mother, myself, and you, who is much younger than me, I see a shift in our interpretation of how we deal with hurt. My mom would always say, forgive. Yes. Then what you just described, I think a lot of people in my generation want to revenge, but in a sexual way. Like, you cheat on me by sleeping with another woman, I'll cheat on you by sleeping with another man and throw it in your face. Now, the perspective that you bring is more in line with the Gen Z group that's more confrontational. That you hurt me, I have to hurt you even more. Only that the option you give is quite scary. Like kill them off. What do you think about that interpretation?
Okay, maybe killing is a little bit extreme, but there is a point where some people deserve it.
Yes, sometimes people deserve it, but I also realize that sometimes people around us don't appreciate the pain we go through.
Yes.
For instance, she touches loosely on her relationship with her parents, and when she told them what she did and why, as opposed to embracing your daughter and providing the comfort she needs, you instead excommunicate her from the family.
She's from a Catholic family, a very religious family. So there, even if you said I have killed a hen, I'm sure they would.
They'll be so unforgiving.
Yeah, so imagine saying you've killed a man, first of all, you're in campus. According to the family, you're not supposed to even be saying a man. So now imagine the man has betrayed and you're telling your religious father that I've killed the man
who wronged me.
In fact,
And-
she was lucky the father didn't report her to the authorities.
And is more worried about her body that got exposed as opposed to how offended she was by this.
Yeah, you
So
see,
essentially she's in the wrong.
yeah, but parents also, especially the old parents, they do not quite understand the challenges that girls face. Actually, all children, including the boys, they think life out there is okay. They don't think life out there is as hard as it actually is. They think once they have sent you off from home, maybe you're a campus student, you're supposed to go to school, study, come back, but they don't. Most of them don't consider the expenses that you have to, because you see, Angel starts her own business. She's even a government student, but that she's paying her hostel fee, and then like that is actually one of the challenges. Yeah, one of the challenges that campus students really go through.
Accommodation.
Yeah, accommodation, expenses, especially the expenses part. You find you can't tell an African parent, especially the ones who are from humble backgrounds, you can't sit down and tell an African parent that I use 100,000 in a week.
They'll think you're insane.
Yes, actually some parents will just not actually believe you, and they will even
Money has
confront
lost
you
value
about
to
it.
begin
Exactly.
with. Because these days with 100,000, you get shocked. You know, you have this light Cavera from the shop and you're like, what did I buy? Can we count this again? So there's that, but also the reality of being at university. And like you said, the expenses. And it's not only the accommodation, the meals. As a student, sometimes you need extra notes, you need a textbook here and there. As a female, you have the sanitary requirements. Maybe you need to do your hair, maybe you need to do that. But somehow, your parents expect that either you make do or...
I don't know, some parents be thinking that kids are working at campus, but...
Working where?
Right?
Yes, they expect you to study, but they expect you somehow to survive.
Yes.
Yes, and she figured out how to survive.
Yeah.
And for me, we all aspire for better. We all want worldly stuff. We all want comfortable life.
Yes.
Maybe the levels of desire and the determination to get what we want differs. And we see how Angel tries to navigate that, because initially it seemed that, okay, through these men who pretended to love her, should be able to address her basic needs. And then along the way she realizes, oh no, they're not really interested in that. They just want to see what they can get out of me.
Yes.
And so she had to devise some mechanisms. And for me, that's why I always vouch for female economic empowerment. Because when you're economically empowered, even those aspects of forgiving people who wrong you don't come across. Because a lot of times, as we're talking about tolerance across generations, you realize that older women, most of them were unemployed, uneducated. Your own siblings, your brothers, your parents said, don't come back, we already ate the dowry. So because you're not economically able, you tolerate a lot of rubbish. Yes. But when you're economically able, you're like, I can walk out of this house and go and rent somewhere else.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's a primary fear that keeps women sort of chained, sort of imprisoned to very toxic relationships. And you tease those ideas a bit, when she talks about, oh, this is what I wanted, now I can take myself out. Had, what was the other friend called? The one who sold her business idea?
It was...
She had a beautiful name, actually. How could I forget? The second friend who betrayed her and who was sharing, who pretended really to be understanding, but she was giving away those videos of hers that these people had not even seen.
Yeah.
So
Ariana.
beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful name. And I was like, oh, Ariana, I'm so disappointed. But yes, so you see, anything for money. Yes. Well, this one thought, oh, I could support my friend like this. The friend was actually jealous of, I wanted to be
Yes.
you. I wanted to be what you have. So she also wanted money. And yet here is Angel reflecting and saying that, you know what, I could have supported if had you only spoken.
Yes.
Yes, but that's how strange friendships can be, and things like that. So what other message do you have there, either for females or even any human being? As you said, even men get hurt. And if a man is also wrong, maybe should also seek revenge.
Yes. The advice that you can get from this book, you shouldn't always sit back and get hurt in the quiet. You shouldn't necessarily kill the people who break your heart, but you should always do something about it. Because if we normalize hurting others, if we normalize betrayal, if we normalize cheating, what kind of community shall we become? What kind of generation will this be? Or what lessons are we going to pass on to the others? Like a man cheating, men do that. No, that is a dead mentality. We should, they have to learn lessons, not necessarily by killing them, but as a woman or as a man, if someone cheats on you, have your dignity, walk away.
Yes.
That is the only way that you can teach people that, okay, to value you.
Yes, actually at the beginning I was so disappointed in Angel because I'm that kind of person. You hurt me, I remove myself from that situation. So initially when she was begging desperately to be loved back, I was like, oh no, this is not a good one. But I like how she evolved, even if it seems a bit extreme. And for me, your book challenges the traditional understanding of good woman. Was this intentional?
Yes. The way women are perceived or were perceived, because now the perceptions of women are shifting, women are now leaders, women are now big people. So the perception of women always being so soft-hearted. You hurt her, she ignores, she forgives, or she prays for you to change. That is one thing that I wanted
prayer,
to share. Because
and more prayer.
yeah, you can't pray for someone to change unless they want to change. They can never change. You cannot, you cannot, even if you forgive someone 100 times, provided they want to do something, they will still do it anyways. So Angel is this woman who comes out opposing all those beliefs. Women can do anything. Women are capable of paying back. Women are capable of killing.
Yes, we are capable. It actually also sort of poses a paradox between love and harm, that love can coexist with harm. Is this deliberate? How do you unpack this contradiction?
I used to say sometimes to love is to get hurt. Because there is no such thing as a perfect relationship. All relationships have their downs, have their lows. I don't think you can have that perfect relationship, the Cinderella ending. So where there is love, there must be hurt. Because we are human beings, we are not flawless.
Yes. So to you, is revenge a sort of emotional justice, or it is something that eventually consumes the person who takes it as an option to being hurt?
I think it's emotional justice. For me, revenge is something that heals.
Most of us.
Yes. There is, even if it's something small. But there is payback. There is that kind of that feeling of satisfaction. Yes.
Yeah. But I also felt, almost like an algae, almost like what was that thing, like COVID, this thing that starts small and keeps growing and expanding, some sort of algae that feeds off something. So to me, it's like her desire to kill just
Keeps
kept growing, even in cases where I thought she didn't need to kill. Or you see where she's pushed, especially those boys who had stolen a business idea. Somehow I thought they didn't deserve to die, but at the same time I empathized with her, trying to kill that story that Ariana now was trying to revive. First of all, Ariana seemed to be a very close friend and is the same person trying to unbury things that were in the past and telling these people the only way you can get her, how to really finish her off, is to spread these videos and things. So I thought, oh, maybe the boys didn't deserve to die, but Ariana definitely deserved to die. But maybe the fact that now they know, you can't guarantee that they will keep quiet about it.
Yes.
So it was quite confusing there. What was the intention? Yeah, anything slightly remote. You know, I've had those cases where they say that if you kill a family, kill the whole generation, even the babies, because they'll come to revenge as they grow up. Is that the intention?
You see, from the start, when she's sexually assaulted on the internet and her sexual videos go
privacy,
viral,
yes.
so her
It's
privacy is
exposed.
exposed and all that. And then the way she struggled to heal from that,
Yes.
and the way it emotionally affected her, she couldn't even show her face around. And then this was the idea of this now returning, like you can expose
someone
these
you thought you
videos.
could trust.
Exactly. So if she had already given them the videos, if she had spared them, there was no guarantee
Yes,
that
they
they
were going
wouldn't
to try to
expose
get
her.
back.
So
Yes.
to kill the story and save your emotions
yes.
once again.
And indeed, that was her turning point, you know, like once her privacy was exposed, I think she said, I have nothing to lose now.
Yes.
Just clear this man. Yeah, but the man came off as quite creepy. You know, that cross-generational relationship or cross-generational sex, it sort of depicts those older men as not nice people. Was that deliberate?
Yes, because older men, you shouldn't honestly be after a 21-year-old. That was so deliberate. I've had a friend who actually went through that. It was kind of true story based on that.
Near to that, yes.
And her privacy was also
Yes, and
interfered like that.
They don't care about
They
the
don't
young girls.
care. They don't care. They are after one thing. Most of them are after one thing.
They want to sleep with you and they want to destroy you.
Yes. And they want to own you.
And then show off to other people. So basically, by exposing her, his intention was no one else wants her and she's left to him alone.
Yes.
Something like that. And it was surprising that he actually had a wife who then comes out to cry and say this was a good man. And like, didn't you know that your husband, because the description of that video is that both the girl and the man's faces were shown.
Yes.
So when the wife was crying of how good her husband was, I found that quite shocking. What did you want to expose? How hypocritical wives are?
No. If at all, you see, he's a wealthy man. He's a very wealthy man. So if she had come out saying, I hated my husband, or my husband was a very bad person, it would either maybe deny her of the inheritance that
or
she
they
was
would
going to
suspect
get.
she has something to do with his disappearance.
Because remember now, it is her husband's face all over the internet with another girl. So if she had come out saying, my husband is a very bad person, of course she would be a prime suspect in his disappearance.
Yes.
And the fact that she actually doesn't find out that he was killed.
So in terms of maybe psychological, moral complexity, are you asking the reader to question themselves on how they deal with betrayal?
Yes, with betrayal. Do you forgive and forget? Are you that type to forgive and forget? Are you the one who wants revenge?
Oh yes, me, I want revenge all the time. I want
Yes.
revenge.
I would go miles for revenge. Uh, are you the one who lets go? Some people just emotionally detach themselves so fast. I'm actually jealous of those people who just emotionally detach immediately. She has ended a relationship today, next week she's in a new one and she's happy.
Maybe the backup plan was always there. They were never in love. To me, people who are able to do that, they were never really attached to the relationship.
Yeah.
There's something they wanted out of it. I mean, as women, we want different things. I know the dominant narrative is that women want wealth from men or what men have. But as a woman, I want different things from different men.
Yes.
Do you try to show that? Sometimes it's just the way you look, sometimes it's human. I mean, Angel reached a point where she could now afford. For instance, when she went into that online relationship, really she could afford. Yes. And I don't know, I found myself, for me that was one of my most humorous moments. Like when the dangers or the disappointment of online dating, when the Chishot man now appeared.
Someone asked me what my favorite chapter in this book is, and honestly, chapter 11 is because it's even there. This is the most the most fun and the most funny part of my story, as she said.
Yes.
Like, and the way she
I can
punished
see the
him.
character still.
Yeah, it is like very funny. Chopping him into pieces. Then I looked for my big sufuria, which I always keep around for emergencies, and then I cooked him bit by and then fed him to the stray dogs. It was supposed to actually be like a fun part of the novel, but it's also...
Yes, it is sad, but for me the most funny part is when he showed up and the description of his height, his look.
Like he was not just short, he was insultingly short.
Yes, but also the entitlement of men, regardless of his height, his look.
Yes.
The way the man came off as arrogant, I'm like, this is typical. This is typical. They think they're entitled to women, their bodies, and you have no business having second thoughts about them.
You see, I do not believe in online dating.
Yeah, I also don't believe in online dating. Luckily, that one, I am so pro it. I was actually saying, yes, this is what you get from these online things,
Yes.
you know?
Disappointments, because most of them lie about age, they lie about their looks, they lie about almost everything.
But you know, eventually you meet. Don't they ever worry about how I'll react when I meet something else?
There are a few honest people you can meet online, very few.
They think they will just kidnap, like when she finally meets me, it's too late for her to turn back.
I don't believe you can grow that attachment online, that emotional attachment online, to find that you're so attached to someone in that no matter how they look, it's hard for you to let them go. No, online dating disappoints a lot. It's also actually, a friend of mine was also disappointed like that. So this book really has a lot of realism into it.
So, as young women, what message would you like them to take away from this book? But also the older women who have been through it with their cultural perception of what a good woman should be and really what forgiveness looks like.
As younger women, I can advise them to struggle for financial independence, in that you do not have to ever find yourself in a spot where surviving is begging a man, after even tolerating all disrespect from a man just to survive. To find that you can afford your lifestyle, struggle for that, and love comes eventually. You know, death and love are the two things you can't look for. They find you when
when you want to hide.
Yeah, and for the older women who have been through this, some of them have been through worse, been rejected by men, they have been betrayed by their husbands. I can advise them to have to maintain their dignity. Because dignity is one thing you can't put a price on.
Yes.
The moment the moment you're disrespected, the moment you're assaulted, the moment you're betrayed, walk away. There will always be better.
Yes, and I can see you sort of show what length people will go to sort of protect
Their peace.
their peace. And for me, as a last thing I want to ask, that I literally wrote down because I wanted to capture it that way, is your protagonist a warning, a mirror of the self, or a form of liberation for women across generation? Is that a warning, a mirror, or a form of liberation?
I would portray Angel as a form of liberation, because there is a lot of satisfaction in how she punishes betrayal. Not just men, because she
punishes women as well.
She reaches a point where she's like, this is not a story about the women I killed, but about the men I killed.
Yes.
So it's not...
So if women are part of the piece that contributes to your pain, you've got to deal with them as well.
Deal with them.
Yes.
Maintain your peace, because there will always be other people, there will always be friends, there will always be new lovers, but there will never be another you.
And I see how she doesn't sympathize with people's wives at all. Yes, and because always people's wives assume that they're the only ones aggrieved. You, the other woman, you're not aggrieved. The question is, who knew about both of us? Only the man knows about both of us. The man knows he has a wife at home, but he still goes out of his way to seek me out. So how do I become the problem? Good question. So yes, I'll stop at that.